This is Populations and Resources Lesson 2.4 Part 2. You should have just completed Part 1, which is page 1, and you should have filled this out. If you haven't done that, then you're not going to know what's going on in this video. So make sure you go back and watch that video to help you complete page 1. So now we are on page 2, where we are changing the number of deaths. We are looking how to get the number of deaths to change in the wee bug population. So basically what you're doing here is you're going to create a steps for your test. So in page 1 you decided what you're going to change. And so you're going to write your steps of how you're going to do that in the simulation here. And then you'll do that, you'll conduct your experiment and record your results in the data table. So this looks hard and confusing, but I want to remind you that you did this exact same thing in lesson 2.3. So I would recommend watching the videos for lesson 2.3 activity 2 again to help you, especially I think these last 2 videos are going to be more helpful. So watch those videos, but also if you go into lesson 2.3 activity 2 and then go to page 2, there's instructions here. So you could use this as a guide to help your experiment, and it can't be identical because this activity you're trying to change the number of births. Here you're trying to change the number of deaths. So you can't just copy this word for word. You got to figure out how it works for your experiment in this activity. Also, the data table is basically the same. This is sort of what you should do. I know there's 3 columns in the other one, and you could use that, but don't let that like confuse you. You really just need to make sure you have the 20 time range before and after, and then the number we're not doing bursts, so it'd be the number of wee bug deaths. So use this to help you with your instructions and to help you create your data table. And so I'm going to go back to 2.4 to help explain why there's 3 rows. So if you chose more than one thing here, then you would conduct like 2 experiments. So the change in wee bug deaths the change in the wee bug deaths would be different when you did an experiment. Let's say if you chose one of the green leaves, and then your results would be different with the furbills. So that's why there's 2 here. So you'd be recording your changes for both experiments. Now, I understand this might be confusing still, but at this point, I'm not going to show you everything. We kind of want to see how you do on this to see if you can set up the steps and set up the data table and be able to conduct this experiment on your own. I have given you a lot of information to complete part 1, and I've also told you that if you go back to 2.3, the instructions for 2.3 are there, so you could use that as a guide to create your steps, because yours is going to be very similar, except it's different because you're observing deaths. And the data table is very similar also. So I've showed you that. So I've given you a lot of information to help, but I'm not doing it for you. And so this is something that we would probably talk about in our Zoom session to see how people did on this. All right, that's that. If you do have questions about this and when you're watching and you're confused, please contact your teacher. This would be difficult in class, and it's going to be difficult now. So I don't expect people to completely get this 100% on our own, but please try, and if you have questions, ask your teacher either through email or on a Zoom. And also, when you're done, make sure you answer all these questions and then press hand in.